Hi learners, we are now going to deep dive into the design process, which is part of the new product development. I really wish my colleague, my former colleague Dr. Apurva Bhatt would have taken this lesson instead of me. His area of work is exactly this, which is how do you take a product from the benefits into designing the features of a product. I am going to take his work and share it the best way that I can, and I hope that you are able to follow through. The examples that Dr. Apurva has used in this lesson are relatively easy, and therefore, it should be not difficult to follow along, and I promise to do my best. So what is design is what Dr. Apurva starts this class with, and here is one definition of design, which says that products which are not natural, which means they are not naturally occurring, but artificial products which are designed, are conceived and produced and transacted and used by people because of the properties and functions that they have. So, I use this clicker because of the properties that it has, that when I want to go forward or I want to go back or I want to highlight something on the slide, it helps me do this. I also like the form of this clicker. It is very nice and ergonomic. Many of us like the mouse that we operate because it fits nicely into the palm of our hand. So, that is all part of how products are designed, and I am now going to use the verb form of design, not the noun form of design, but the verb form of design, and this is a much easier thing or a much nicer thing to understand, that designing a product means यहाँ पे problem थी और हम इसको solve किए. So, going from problem into a solution, finding the problem into solving for the problem is what the process of design does. Here is one popular design, at least in our country, India, and this is just a soap, as I have been speaking about. It has a functionality of a soap. It has the beautiful aesthetics, and it appeals to our eyes, it appeals to our senses. Even as an image, it appeals to our aesthetic sense, and it has a sense of ergonomic, which is about how easy it is or how nice it is to be able to use this product. So, the discipline of design, and maybe some of you want to be designers, maybe some of you want to study design going forward. What design does is finds a problem, understands the problem better, and designs a solution for it, and that is the product development cycle I told you about, which is go from the concept, take the benefits, take the features, and now we design the specifications of the product by using the design process. The design process can be imagined in 4 stages, and in this view, which we have called the outcome view, we have called this the outcome view. We are talking about is phase mein hota kya hai, what is the output of this phase. So, the first part of the design process is identification of needs, and much as in customer discovery, you went and identified problems, you identified benefit areas, and you identified some features. The designers take whatever material that, let us say, a product manager or a brand manager or a marketing person or a product person has given them and say, no, now we are going to go and do our own research and understand from a design perspective what are the problems that users have, what are the needs that users talk about, and what are their requirements. So, unlike in the product world or in the customer, in the marketing world, where we talk about customers, designers are always talking about users. They are most interested in who are the users of these products, what are they looking for, and how is it that we can solve the problem that they have articulated. But the problem that they are talking about is largely in the realm of product, not related to how will you buy it, how will you pay for it, and so on and so forth, which is part of the marketing and sales and product development cycle. Yeah. So, this is the needs identification part of product design. The next stage is concept generation. Having identified that these are some of the gaps that customers face in the usage of their product, what is it that we can design? And so, again, there are multiple ideas that people come up with, and I will show you some of these going forward. And here in a concept, they are thinking about the functions, they are thinking about the functionalities that a product needs to deliver and the features. Yeah. The next stage is called concept consolidation, and here what happens is you say, oh, I think this feature from this concept, and perhaps from here I will pick up another, and together we will synthesize or we will integrate, and here is where the prototype is made. A POC or a prototype is made at this stage, and it is called concept consolidation. And the last stage in the product design process, often done by product designers, not by the product managers, the tech product managers or the marketing people or the brand managers. These are actually the product designers, and they go out and test the concepts. So, they test the concepts, they typically test at a prototype, not MVP is a little too late, they test at a prototype level, and so this is the output view. There is a needs identification phase, then there is a generation of concepts, there is an ideation, a brainstorming, and coming up with concepts. The third stage is consolidation, synthesis, integration of ideas that have come up through this process, and the last stage is of course testing of the concept or the prototype, as in this case. This is what happens as activity in these 4 stages. So, when the product designers want to figure out needs, what is it that a product today is delivering well at, and what is it not delivering well at, what are the gaps, what are the needs, they do this by observation. So, they spend a lot of time observing the end user and seeing how they engage with the product. So, I am sure somebody must be seeing a lot of recordings of mine right now and seeing that I end up leaving my clicker, remembering to pick it up only once in a while. I am actually using my clicker almost as a communication tool, not just a clicker for moving my slides, but it seems to be a method by which Professor Anu is engaging with her students or learners, and maybe there is something in that which we can make it more interesting. Why should I be showing this part and not this part? I do not know. I am thinking this as I am engaging with the clicker, but a product designer would be engaging with my interaction with this product clicker and observing me and interacting with me and seeing the experience the user has with the product. In the stage of concept generation, there is just brainstorming. There is brainstorming, there is ideation, there is building on each other's ideas, and there is synthesis. So, that is what happens in the concept generation stage. People just throw out things into a discussion forum saying, what if we did this, what if we did this, what if we could do that, what if, and all what ifs are good as far as concept generation is concerned. In the third stage, which is concept consolidation, these ideas actually get drawn, and drawn is a very basic word. By draw, it is sketched, it is made into a CAD design which gives a 3D feel to a drawing. There is both form, which is how it will look, and functionality, how will it perform, built into a prototype or a CAD design at this stage. And the last stage, which is about testing, there is again interaction with users, there is analysis based on what users tell the product designers, there is some evaluation, and finally a selection. So, the stages in the design process, in the product design process, are identifying needs from users, brainstorming and coming up with concept ideas, synthesizing those concepts and consolidating those concepts, and finally testing the 2 or 3 concepts that we take to users to get feedback and inputs from. So, in need identification, taken a very simple example, which I think my colleague would have done with a few people in our campus itself. So, the question was about bicycles. The product was not a clicker, the product was the humble two-wheel bicycle that all of us have ridden. Most of you on your campuses are hopefully also using bicycles. The world is coming full circle. We went from bicycles to two-wheelers to cars, some public transport in between, and people are coming back to bicycles again because they don't want to burn any more energy. So, the bicycle is a great example to have this discussion for. The first set of questions are around how do you use your cycle, when do you use your cycle, why do you use your cycle. Some answers are verbatim captured. I use it for going to class every day, I use it to visit a temple, I use it for exercise over the weekends. It is my main mode for transport around short trips. Then the question that was asked was, walk me through a typical journey with the bicycle that you have. And when you ask people this question, they might be stunned. What is the journey with a cycle? I just described the journey from hostel number whatever to where the classroom is, but that is not the question here. If you look at the answers, you will know what the journey with the cycle stands for really. So, here it is. I unlock it, I hop on and I ride to the lecture hall complex and then I lock it there. Okay. Then I ride through some shortcuts and the ride becomes uncomfortable, another verbatim. So, anything that is written in quotes is a user saying it in their own words, अपने खुद के शब्दों में कहा है. I have to carry it up and down the stairs in my hostel because if I leave it नीचे में छोड़ दिया lobby के पास तो उसकी safety नहीं रहती है. And it sometimes it is unsafe, so I carry it to my room, keep it outside my room, but I worry it is too heavy at times for me to carry up and down a few times a day. When I arrive, finding a safe spot to park near the lecture halls can be sometimes very difficult. So, as I am reading them, I am sure you are nodding your head, because all these are things that all of us have experienced at some time or the other. Probably some of you are experiencing it right now. Yeah? Some more questions. What is it that you like or dislike about your cycle? And some answers were, I like how lightweight it is, but at the same time I sometimes think it is not sturdy. Lightweight तो है, पर शायद इसमें इतना strength नहीं है, sturdy नहीं है. I love the speed, but I hate that the seat is uncomfortable. And please understand, wherever there is an insight, a tug or tension is good to have. I like how lightweight it is, but कभी-कभी लगता है कि शायद sturdy नहीं है. I like the speed with which I go, but when I am going at high speed, the seat is uncomfortable. So, having a but is very nice. It says this one is, it is easy to maneuver, but it does not have enough gears for the hilly areas that are there inside our campus. It is a simple design, which is good. I like simplicity in design, but the tires get flat very often. Then what improvements, which is a more direct question, and we can ask this directly to a user because users are using their products all the time and are able in a position to answer the question कि आप आपके साइकिल में और क्या चाहते हो, मतलब और क्या इम्प्रूवमेंट चाहते हो. It's a very easy question for most people to relate to, and the answers would be, I wish it had a better lock, so I don't have to worry about theft when I am in the hostel or classroom or labs. Those locks are, any pin or clip or just a yank can pull out that lock. Yeah? Another person says it needs more comfortable handle for a long ride. So it is comfortable for a short ride, but not for a very long ride. A third one says, I wish it could fold so that it can be stored easily. Yeah? Why does it have to be always kept out open like this? Yeah? Another person said, I'd like a small basket for carrying a few things, some groceries, some notebooks, some things that are need to carry. Yeah? So, this is very easy to relate to, because of the example that we have chosen, and I am sure you relate to this is probably some of the things that you have experienced in your own riding a bicycle usage scenario. From here, we go to converting a problem statement into a need statement. So, people tell us as a problem and we convert it to kash aisa hota, how I wish it were like this. So, that goes from a problem statement into a need statement, and there are some examples provided here. So, the user statement says I unlock it, hop on and write to the lecture complex and I lock it there. I usually write through some shortcuts, write becomes uncomfortable. We have seen a bit of that. I wish it had a better lock so I do not have to worry about theft. A fourth, it would be nice if we could fold up for easier storage. These were things we already heard, and here is how the product designer has articulated it in their own words. The bicycle should be easy to secure at a public location. So, this is like a product brief, this is like a specification, this is like an expectation that the product designer needs to design for. The second one, it should offer a smooth and comfortable ride even on uneven surfaces. It should incorporate a better lock. It should incorporate security against theft. It should have a folding mechanism. The bicycle should be easy to store in small or compact spaces. And here is where we convert this into specs. Specifications are very often called as specs, S-P-E-C-S, specs बताइए. स्पेक्स माने आप इस प्रोडक्ट में किस मटेरियल से बनाएंगे, कितना गेज होगा, उसकी सर्कमफ्रेंस क्या होगी, उसका डायमीटर क्या होगा, those are what specifications are. And here are some examples. The bicycle should offer a smooth and comfortable ride, for which we have to do something with the tires. To get a smooth and comfortable ride, we have to do something for the tires, and it says suspension and it says tires. So, the width, can it be wider for added cushioning? It also talks about the front suspension to be able to absorb shocks on bumpy roads. We all understand what this means because we have ridden bikes with suspensions. Tire type, it also was said that it काफ़ी पंक्चर हो जाता है, काफ़ी टाइम फ्लैट हो जाता है. So, can we make it a durable puncture resistant tire for outdoor use? Yeah. So, those are specifications from the need or the gap, that is the bicycle should provide a comfortable seating experience, and here we are saying ergonomic padded seat with adjustable height, all of which makes eminent sense. So, I am not going to explain that in detail to you, but this is where a designer has applied their understanding and said, if this is what the user is telling me, that I want a more comfortable seating experience, this is what it translates to as far as the specs or the specifications of the product are concerned. Seat designing, it should have a shock absorbing seat which allows for extra comfort. So, again example of how a user's need or a user's current problem gets converted into a specification by the product designer. This is where we move to stage 2 and start generating concepts, and I like this look of this person who is thinking and saying, yeah, I am ready to brainstorm, and the problem statements have been listed. And here it is not the overall problem statement, it is the intermediary ones saying the seat is uncomfortable, the ride is uncomfortable, especially when I go over terrain which is not flat. I want to go on hilly roads, I do not have gears for it. So, each of these problem statements have been listed out on a whiteboard, say on a wall, on a glass panel in your office, and people are brainstorming about what is a concept to create. Yeah. So, here are a bunch of people actually thinking about how to solve for this problem. And here are these people being very positive about it. So, here please read the words inside them very carefully. One of them is saying, let us build on the idea, let us build on this idea. Maybe we can combine this idea which came from this person with this idea which came from some other person. It does not matter who was the people that the idea came from. But this idea and this idea, if we combine together, maybe there is some merit with it. A third person saying, hey, that's a cool idea. And here is us giving a green thumbs up, saying that's the right way of doing concept generation or brainstorming. In any brainstorming exercise, we should leave judgment, our judgment hat, we should leave it outside the door. When we are generating concepts, when we are brainstorming, when we are coming up with ideas, we don't need people like this who usually say, oh, ये तो मैंने सुना हुआ है. Oh, we have heard this before. You know what? This is just not going to be possible technologically. It will never work. You know what? In the year 1983, we tried this, it didn't work, and it can never work. Yeah? These are the kinds of people, or forget the people are not important, but these are the kind of thoughts that make for poor brainstorming, that and therefore we have given a red thumbs down to an idea or to statements like this, because brainstorming works only in a safe environment where people don't feel judged, where people don't see this hierarchy, ki this person is more senior than me, I am a junior, so my idea is worth less than that person's idea. No such thing. All ideas are equal and no idea will get thrown out at this stage. That is what good brainstorming sounds like. So, we don't discount an idea, we don't throw it out before its time, we give all ideas a chance to be heard, and then we look at how can we synthesize from here. So, the next step is the modification, where we use some of these guidelines. Is it going to be feasible? Is it of utility or utilitarian value? Does it build customer friendliness, user friendliness? Is it safe? Is it environmentally safe? Is it cost effective? Is it simple? The world is moving to simple design. Nobody wants complicated design. Everything has to be intuitive. You all would have seen how, you can give your smartphone to a 2-year-old, which you should not, but we all end up doing, and you will see how quickly they are able to navigate what you thought was UI UX, but for the child it was just something to play with, and they could figure it out, which means that it is extremely good design. It can be understood naively. The word naive means apne aap se. Without having any formal training, young children are able to navigate through apps, reflection of the times we live in. But in this example, what I am trying to say is it's great UI UX. It's possible for even people who are not technically savvy to be able to figure this out by themselves. Yeah? So, simplicity is one of the key dimensions as far as design is concerned. So, concepts get generated, and here this is an example we will show you of concepts which got generated for a particular problem. We will show you the problem last. Let me first show you the concepts that got generated, and you will realize that they have both functionality and they also have form, which is design, which is how does it look, how does it work, and how does it look. So, here is a first example, which is a chair, and I have not yet told you what is the problem we are solving, and I am doing this on purpose, so that as I show you, I hope your mind is thinking about, okay, what is the problem? Is this a wheelchair? Is this only a wheelchair, or is it meant to do something more than a wheelchair? It does look like something it is doing which is more than just a regular wheelchair is doing. Yeah? Here is a second version. This looks like a stretcher, but it seems to have one more guiding anchor kind of thing. What does it do? Why does it have a tri-wheel mechanism? Can't. So, again, as I am saying, I am keeping the problem statement from you, so that your mind can also do some thinking on its own. Here is a third, which is for me difficult to explain. I am not a very design oriented person, definitely not a product design person. The fourth one makes it very easy, and I am going to show it to you. This is a stair lift. So, the problem statement given was making wheelchairs navigate patients across stairs. and this is a common problem. People who are can't walk and are in wheelchairs find it practically impossible wherever there are stairs. So, how is it that we can build for navigating stairs, ascending, going up, descending, going down for patients regardless of the staircase's configuration. So, this is the problem statement, and these were for prototypes or for MVPs which had different technologies built in, which had different mechanisms built in, but in all of them there were both form as well as function. Consolidation. So, here let me try and explain the language of design. So, in design we are going from abstract, which is just a thought, it is an idea, it is a thought, it is a benefit, it is a word, it is some doodle in my mind, to real, which is what is actually going to look like in reality. So, at the top is just text, meaning some thought, some idea, some blurb, and a prototype which is actually real. So, here is what happens in the first stage that a designer takes over a project. They are describing and explaining what is the idea about. From there they start drawing. So, here is a diagram and it says that this will happen, then it will go here, then it will go here, then it will come here. So, it is like a flow diagram or a flow chart. The designer starts sketching. So, there is a shape, there will be a form, there will be a layout. From sketches it goes into computer drawings where it gets more technically specced out. The dimensions of the product become clearer and clearer, and then CAD comes and takes over. CAD is computer aided design. So, there is geometry, there is proportions, there is form, it is proper 3D by this stage. A mock-up is where you are actually using a material. So, you can see colors, you can see finishes, you can see form coming through, and somewhere there is the feasibility dimension of POC and the functionality and desirability dimension of a prototype. So, a designer goes through all of this, and when I say a designer, it does not have to be one person, it could be a team of designers, but they start from text where they describe and explain, start drawing a flow chart saying this goes here, and this is how the process works. They start sketching so that there is a layout and a shape and a form, and by now even non-design folks like me will start looking at saying, oh, I now know what the product is going to look like, what the product could look like, potentially could look like. By the time they draw and they go into CAD, which is computer aided design, we are able to envisage it in 3 dimensions. The dimensions will be clear, the specifications will also become clear, and then the next stage is to do a mock-up. And mock-ups can be like I showed you in a form in a few slides back. The mock-up could be in thermocol, in foam, in cardboard, it could be 3D, it could be made miniature of the big size that we are trying to envisage it in, and the prototype is the ultimate output, where you can see both form and function, which is you can see the appeal, the aesthetic appeal, what does the product look like and how does it appeal to us as users, and how does it behave, how does it perform, how does it function. So, this is the language of design, and I am going to pass this because I had already shared this with you and I just now spoke about them, digital in Figma form. The role served by a prototype is these 3 or 4 parts. It integrates multiple ideas into concepts and sees whether it can work together. Prototypes are very important to explain the thought in your head to another team member or a user. You cannot say what I want you to do is close your eyes and imagine that there is this piezo thing here and then something is coming from somewhere here. Most of us as average users or as team members may not be able to imagine that much. A prototype helps the process of communication. The prototype also helps the team learn actively to get feedback from each other and from end users, and to formally get evaluation and feedback, it goes to multiple end users who probably use it and tell about the satisfaction with functionality. They also tell how well the prototype, the piezoelectric shoe, how well it met their needs of generating enough power to charge a earphone or to charge my watch, or and how comfortable it was, how uncomfortable it was. All of that comes through in the testing or the evaluation phase. Maybe we would make 20 odd prototypes and test with, or we would make 1 or 2 prototypes and test them with multiple people over a period of time. It is not that all 20 have to be made together. We make 2 and we test, if it is a shoe, you make in the standard shoe size for men and another in the standard shoe size for women, and then you give it to people to try. People try, use it for maybe a day, give it back to you, and then you go give it to the next person, and that is how the testing and evaluation happens. Stage 4 is concept or prototype testing. A concept is a preliminary version of a final product. If it is functional, we call it a prototype. If it is just words and text and images, it is a concept. If it is also functional, then it is referred to as a prototype. What all can be tested? We can test functionality, we can test desirability, we can test what is the attributes on which it has performed. So, like my shoe, is it a good walking shoe? Is it comfortable? Is it not comfortable? Does it quicken my pace? Does it reduce my pace of walking? Any number of things can happen. There are several concepts. There are several parameters or attributes which are about shoes: comfort, good looks, somebody else noticed it, made me walk faster, made me walk at my normal pace, made me feel uncomfortable while I was walking up a slope. It was fine on flat surfaces, but up or down slopes were difficult. All of them are performance along different attributes. The other thing that we do when we test concepts as product designers, we get the importance of attribute. So, if it is a piezoelectric shoe, I am not worried about how good it looks, or I am less worried about how good it looks. I am more concerned about how much energy I am able to generate. I would immediately start calculating, if I walk 5,000 steps a day, will it be able to charge my phone? If I walk 10,000 steps a day, or let us say in 5,000 steps it is able to do my watch, and in 10,000 steps it is able to do my phone. Those are the kind of calculations one starts doing, and the attributes that end users will tell us is, we are more interested in the amount of energy, we are more interested in basic comfort, not high level of comfort. We are less interested in some things protruding from the shoe because the look is less important and performance is more important. These are just a way. I am not saying these are the right answers. I am simply saying that by testing a prototype, you will get answers to what are the important attributes in the customer's mind, in the user's mind, and how well is our prototype doing on those parameters. So, what we have done in this lesson is gone from an idea, understood the design process, and reached from an idea which is in the abstract world, it just got words, into a prototype which is almost in the real world. It is in the real world, it has both functionality and desirability. And in the next lesson, we will go through how we go from a prototype into a minimum viable product. And I did tell you that a minimum viable product is a very important milestone in the journey of a startup. So, thank you for patiently listening. This was our journey as a designer from an idea to a prototype. Thank you.